All right, so as you guys know, yesterday was FOMC, so today made for a volatile day of trading. The market kind of whiplash all the way, broke the negative market structure into the downside, and then completely reversed back into the positive structure. So it was a little bit hard to find a trade today since it was so whiplashy, but I was able to stay patient, and a trade came around an hour and a half into the market open. I took it live, so I'm going to go ahead and roll the replay from that trade I took this morning, and then we'll go and talk about the trade. So hopefully you guys can get some value from this video and apply it to your own trading.
Okay, what is up, guys? Good morning. All right, so we are kind of at a defense zone here. It's 622 and 584. Looks like we're breaking straight through the defense here, which will put us into a flow number 2. Quite a ways to go down, all the way to 16, 15, or we could bounce 18 as well. Getting back above VWAP here. By the time we got above 20, we're pretty much almost at VWAP, so there's not really anything we can do. Yeah, what could happen is if we do end up getting another push up, we'll start to see these deviations in VWAP trending up more, which could line up with 620 later on, So there could be a trade later in the day if we do get that push up. All right, we're starting to pull back to the 620 here. Okay, I'm going to be getting in on this candle. It stops on this low. Targets VWAP. Okay, nice little push. Need a little bit more juice out of it. Might as well put stops at break even. Oh, we hit it. All right. I'm out. There we go. Could go back to highs, but no guarantee. VWAP is the safest target we got.
All right, so let's go and talk about the trade I took. Ended up making around 1763 in total P&L. Real quick before you guys get into it, I did want to announce and let you guys know that Apex is doing a 90% off sale. This only happens like twice a year, so be sure to take advantage of that using the code ChadTrades. If you guys do use the code ChadTrades, I'm doing a promotion right now where you get free access to my entire trading course. So this is a course I recently made, and it's called the Payout Playbook, and we're going to show you how to get your account set up, the best contract sizing to use, how to copy trade, how to get payouts, and then I actually go into my full trading strategy, the 2 setups you can use that are both payout friendly with prop firms like Apex. So if you guys do want to take advantage of that 90% off Apex sale, if you use the code ChadTrades, like I said, I'll send you a free copy of my playbook. If you guys want more information, that'll be the first link in the description below this video. Anyways, getting into this now, let's go over the trade I took. Okay, so as you can see, market opened up and we were pretty much open, neutral, chopped around VWAP, had a big sell-off towards 618 on QQQ. As you can see, it bottomed out and it completely reversed back to the other side. So for me, it was really hard to take a trade in this area because there was just there's no setup for me. So if I go into the institutional positioning, this is mainly what I'm looking at for my levels, which is part of, where I want to trade. So if we go to this morning, all right, so today is the 11th, and we're going to go and see, okay, so as you can see, we opened up kind of negative, but we had a little bit of defense at 622. As you can see, if we pull up the QQQ chart, 622 was pretty much just by VWAP, and it was trying to defend, but eventually got overrun. As you can see, there's a lot of negative interest in the market, right? If we look at the delta hedging, this basically shows just the institutional positioning, where big institutions are positioned. And we have a lot of negative interest, meaning we might see a sell-off. Okay, so we eventually sold off. So let me skip forward like 30 minutes, go to 10 a.m. And as you can see, we end up bottoming out at 618, I believe. Yeah, so 618, and it was either we're gonna bottom out at 618 or go down to 16 or 15 because of what the flows look like, right? We usually go to these peaks, and these peaks we bounce off of them. Okay, if we break 18, we're gonna go to the next peak, and then we're gonna bounce off of it. So 18 was a very small peak, so it was hard to really determine it. It wasn't a quality setup, which is why I had no interest in going long there, right? But anyways, we eventually got down here, and then we ripped all the way back up. Okay, so for me, I'm trading two different setups. I want to trade longs at VWAP, right, when we have increasing interest. So that means we have to be, we have to be in positive territory, right, in the green section, and have to have increasing bars. You can see the first positive bar today was the target. The green bar is always the target. Can't really trade that setup. So no setup there. And then the second setup I trade is when we are trading above VWAP or at VWAP, and we pull back to our first deviation level. The first time we pull back to our deviation level, as you can see, we broke right through it. No trade there. So I simply waited for the second time we pull back to it, and this was at around what time was this? This is at around 8:50. So this is 10:50 Eastern time. So I'm always looking at a few different things. First, I'm looking at the location, right? Are we at VWAP, or are we at that first deviation? Or it could be the second deviation for my second setup as well. Okay, but first deviation is the minimum for my pullback trade. Now I'm looking at the flow. Is there a confirmation of the flow? Right, so if we go over to 1050, does this confirm with the flow? Right, we are trading right at 620, and you can see this is a big red bar. This will act as defense, especially when we were above VWAP. Okay, so you have to have context of the market. This matters. So we were above VWAP, and now we pull back to 620, which also lined up with that first deviation. Okay, so on the pullback trade, we either have to be, at the first or second deviation. On this area, the reason I don't go long here, even though we're at the second deviation, is because when we're trading down here, we're already in this negative territory towards, 618. So it just doesn't confirm with the flow. So like the first time we had the location right, but there was no flow confirmation. Okay, now the second time we pulled back to it, when I actually took the trade, right, we have the location right. We're at that first deviation of VWAP. All right, so that checks out. And then the flow also confirms as well, right? You can see this is the best possible scenario we want to see is we have a red bar defense level. This will act as defense, 620, okay, because it's that first bar into negative territory. This usually gets defended. And then from there, we're looking at confirmation. All right, so the trigger is the third. And for me, I'm just using a indicator called WVF. And it basically just measures volatility expansion, and it shows when it's decreasing, right? So as you can see, we start selling off. We get this green bar showing volatility going up. And then as you can see, we bottom out. And as soon as the bar drops, it's kind of hard to see if you see my mouse, this bar is smaller than the peak, right? And that's a bullish candle. This is where I enter the trade, put my stop on the lows, and then the target, which is the last step of this, for this specific setup, it's always VWAP. Okay, so assuming we're going to go back to fair value, this is kind of like a mean reversion setup if you want to think about it that way. And that's the trade. Okay, if any step is missing, then that means I do not take a trade. Obviously, I did have to wait a while for this to set up, but my trading window is a strict, market open to 10 a.m. my time or 12 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, and you can see we got multiple setups. Even if I missed this one, there was another one here and another one here, and then we eventually wrote it out to high day. But obviously, again, I only took the first one because that's always going to be the highest probability trade is the first pullback to the level. Okay, so anyways, that was my trade for the day. Nothing too complicated, but it was just confusing that first hour as we whiplash back and forth in between positive and negative as far as the institutional positioning. So anyways, that was my trade. Like I said, I am sizing down this month if you guys watched my last video, and it feels a lot easier to trade. It's a lot less anxious and, stressful when you're in the trade. I went from using, 5 minis to now using 2 minis. So I'm making less money on a day, right? But I feel more confident. I feel less emotions, which is probably helping me trade better. So we'll see how the rest of the month plays out. Obviously, we have Christmas coming up, and that whole week, the market's kind of dead. So we're going to have a short trading month. But either way, we have tomorrow and all of next week. So anyways, guys, if you got any value from this video, then I know you're going to love my Payout Playbook Bootcamp. Like I said, it's completely free when you take your next prop challenge. Inside, we show the best strategy for consistent payouts, how to avoid payout denials. You'll be able to trade with clear, proven rules. You also get access to a private community. If you want more information on it, just go over to marketflow.co/bonus. Like I said, it is completely free when you take your next prop challenge using my coupon code ChadTrade. So be sure to check that out if you guys are interested. I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the last day of the trading week.